Have you ever heard of a king who broke with the most powerful institution on earth, all for the sake of love? Or maybe it wasn't just for love. Today, we're diving into the larger-than-life story of Henry VIII, a king whose desires didn't just change his own life, they reshaped an entire nation and its faith forever. Let's rewind to the beginning. Young Henry wasn't even supposed to be king. He was the second son, the spare. Handsome, athletic, intelligent, and charismatic, he was the Renaissance prince personified. He excelled at jousting, music, and theology, but fate had other plans. When his older brother, Arthur, died unexpectedly, Henry was thrust from the shadows into the spotlight, inheriting not only the throne, but also his brother's widow, Catherine of Aragon. Their marriage was, at first, a success. Henry was a dashing young king, and Catherine, a dignified and devout queen from Spain. She gave him a daughter, Mary, but as the years rolled on, one crucial problem loomed large. Catherine couldn't produce a male heir. In a world where a dynasty's survival depended on a son, Henry's anxiety grew into a consuming obsession. He started to believe their marriage was cursed in the eyes of God, referencing a biblical passage that forbade marrying one's brother's wife. And then she walked in, and Bullen, she wasn't like the other ladies at court. Dark-haired, witty, and fiercely intelligent, she had a captivating charm. Educated in the sophisticated courts of France, she refused to be just another royal mistress. She wanted to be queen or nothing at all. Henry was utterly infatuated. This wasn't just a fling. It was an all-consuming passion that would drive him to defy the world. To marry Anne and secure a legitimate heir, Henry needed an annulment from Catherine. There was just one massive obstacle: the Pope. The Pope, influenced by Catherine's powerful nephew, the Holy Roman Emperor Charles V, refused. For 7 long years, Henry pleaded, argued, and threatened. This period, known as the King's Great Matter, was a master class in political and theological debate, but the Pope wouldn't budge. Frustrated and desperate, Henry decided if the mountain won't come to him, he would simply move the mountain. Or, in this case, remove the Pope from the equation entirely. Guided by his clever and ambitious chief minister, Thomas Cromwell, Henry made a radical, game-changing move. He declared that he, the King of England, was the supreme head of the church in England. This wasn't just a political maneuver, it was the birth of the English Reformation. Through a series of acts of parliament, Henry severed ties with Rome that had existed for nearly 1,000 years. He dissolved the monasteries, seizing their immense wealth and land, which dramatically increased the crown's power and finances. Those who opposed him, like his once trusted friend and advisor Sir Thomas More, paid the ultimate price for their loyalty to the Pope, facing execution for treason. With the Pope out of the way, Henry's marriage to Catherine was declared void, and he finally married a pregnant Anne Boleyn in secret. He got his wish. A royal child was born, but to his crushing disappointment, it was another girl, Elizabeth. Anne's failure to produce a son sealed her fate. Her sharp tongue and political influence had made her many enemies at court. When she miscarried a male child, the clock ran out. Trumped-up charges of adultery and treason were brought against her. In a shocking turn of events, the queen for whom Henry had broken with Rome was beheaded. Her reign had lasted just 1,000 days. The very next day, Henry was betrothed to Jane Seymour. Jane was Anne's opposite, gentle, quiet, and submissive. She was the one who finally gave Henry what he had craved for decades, a son, the future King Edward VI. But this long-awaited triumph was short-lived. Tragically, Jane died from complications just days after childbirth. Henry was genuinely heartbroken. He considered her his only true wife and commanded that he be buried beside her. After a period of mourning, the search for a new queen began, this time for political reasons. Thomas Cromwell arranged a match with a German princess, Anne of Cleves, to forge a Protestant alliance. Henry agreed based on a very flattering portrait. But when he met her in person, he was instantly repulsed, famously calling her the Flanders mare. The marriage was an unmitigated disaster and was annulled within months. This diplomatic failure cost Thomas Cromwell his job and his head. Next came wife number 5, the young and vivacious Catherine Howard. She was Anne Boleyn's cousin, and for a brief time, she made the aging, increasingly unwell king feel young again. He doted on her, calling her his rose without a thorn, but she was naive and had a past. When accusations of her infidelity both before and during her marriage to the king surfaced, Henry's infatuation turned to furious betrayal. Like her cousin Anne Boleyn, Catherine Howard was executed at the Tower of London. His 6th and final wife was Catherine Parr, a mature and kind-hearted widow. She was more of a nurse and companion to the now obese, ailing, and tyrannical king who was plagued by a foul-smelling ulcer on his leg. A devout Protestant reformer, she skillfully navigated the dangerous court politics and even survived a plot to have her arrested for heresy. She outlived Henry, bringing a measure of stability and peace to his final years and acting as a caring stepmother to his 3 children, Mary, Elizabeth, and Edward. Henry VIII died in 1547, leaving behind a complex and contradictory legacy. He was a ruthless tyrant who executed his wives and closest friends, yet also a charismatic leader who patronized the arts and strengthened the English navy. His desperate quest for a male heir inadvertently triggered the English Reformation, a religious and social revolution that reshaped the nation as identity and set it on a course that would lead to the rise of his most famous child, Queen Elizabeth I. His reign is a gripping tale of power, passion, and profound change, proving that the desires of one monarch can indeed alter the course of history. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey through Henry VIII's dramatic life. If you enjoyed this, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next dive into history. See you next time.